politics with us. Let's get started. President Donald Trump's budget proposal will increase the military budget by $54 billion and cut domestic spending by the same amount. Do you guys stand with the president's proposal?
I guess I'll start this off. I don't agree with it just because of the programs that he is trying to cut in order to increase the military budget. Currently, the U.S. does have the best military.
Right.
So, what do we need $54 billion to? I mean, I understand like increasing security because there's always gonna be other people competing and you want to stay ahead of the game. But at the same time, $54 billion cut from other programs that are also needed in the United States.
Yeah. Right. I believe, I agree with you. I believe that the budget is unnecessary. Donald Trump's plan to slash spending for presidential programs related to the environment, science, and poverty would hurt Americans. Many experts have already came out and said that it would even make America even more safe. So, like, what's the purpose of adding $54 billion?
I agree on that. First things first, it's redundant, is what it is. Let's look at the track record for the United States. In 2005, our fiscal showed that we spend 54% of federal money on military. That's more than half. And then things like education, medical care, health, the government itself get 6% or less of spending. Military is our biggest gap of spending. Everything else is a bunch of small divisions, not more than 10%.
Right.
And then he may say things, first of all, his reason is he wants to put more pressure on the Islamic State and be a world power. But we are the leading in military. 37% of the world's actual military spending come from the United States. China, Russia, they don't put as much into it, and those are the ones highest that we're worrying about.
One of the programs that Trump also plans on cutting the budget for is HUD, which is the Housing and Urban Development. And he plans to cut it by $6 billion. And that bothers me because the $6 billion for this program actually funds things such as meal assistance
Okay.
and cleaning up abandoned low-income neighborhoods.
Okay.
So, although you're president and you're doing things for the greater good of America, you're not, yet again, not taking into consideration. There we go. See, this is our. You're not taking into consideration, all Americans, because you have people going without food, and this simple project, like this simple department, is feeding people. It's cleaning up neighborhoods. It's providing housing. Like $6 billion from that.
And we have a crisis in Chicago.
Right. And the crisis in Chicago.
It can all be saved by things like HUD.
Right. So, I mean, these things, they really just, it's one circle that it never ends.
Right, and I think we need to start getting our priorities straight, as in what we want as a country. Do we want to increase the budget, military budget, or do we want to increase domestic spending on education and things like that?
And I really think getting out there firsthand and witnessing these things, such as the impact that HUD makes, or the low income neighborhoods, like, when you're out there, you actually see the things. That's when you can properly fix America. But you can't say you're making America great again when you don't know America. Like,
Yeah, I feel like we need to work on America's infrastructure, which are the people and the things within our country. I see military as the bronze and everything else, the actual infrastructure, the people who put the country together as the brains. We can't overbeef the bronze and then expect the brains to be safe. We can't. It's about what's inside. And we really need to make a change. There's a lot of positive things we do with this money. Before we do that, I'm going to take one more time to bash all this military spending. So I have a couple facts from Business Insiders saying what we do with America's money that's spending on military. All right, the Pentagon spends more and more than all 50 states spend on health, education, welfare, and safety. All right, Lord, this mess right here. 2008, the Pentagon spent more money every 5 seconds in Iraq than the average American earned in a year.
Wow.
And I got a few more, and then I'm done. Pass it. Defense spending is higher today than at any moment at the height of World War II. In 2007, the amount of money labeled wasted or lost in Iraq, $11 million, could have paid 220,000 teacher salaries. By 2033, the U.S. will be paying $59 billion a year to its veterans injured in the war, and we're trying to boost it by $54 billion.
Yeah.
And
that's
then,
just now.
I mean, that enough is enough right there. The results of all this spending right now is going to be detrimental. It's going to hurt the country.
And you notice, like I keep saying, America is already in debt. You're coming in and you're trying to take money from things that actually need money to fund things like the military. And it's actually projected that with his long-term plan, we're gonna use an additional $150 billion, added to the budget for military over the coming years. So this $54 billion is just the beginning. When you go in with a budget,
And not to mention,
blow it out the water.
He's gonna have to get this passed through Congress and everything, so he's gonna have a hard time even getting this passed through the Senate, Congress,
Yeah.
because as you know, right now we're very divided as a country,
Very
and it's gonna be hard for him to get the support of Democrats
You have a lot of
They-
Republicans.
and even Republicans,
You have a lot
on
of
the side, he has
Republican
a full
people.
house.
Yeah,
Right.
you have a lot of Republicans.
and even some Republicans have come out against his budget proposal to
Yeah.
increase the budget by
Yeah.
$54
And
billion.
like Leah said, we're going to be spending more money, and not to mention black budget funds would fund things like the NRA and the CIA and security and surveillance, most things that watch us more than anything.
Mhm.
So that's more money we're going to be putting to. And then, like Juwan said, we just got to get through Congress and things. They don't project that the cuts will even happen until 2018. And
I mean, to be honest, I think we're gonna have to. Eventually, we're gonna have to decide what we need to cut, because eventually we're gonna have to cut something so we can get our spending under control. We just can't keep spending money on all of these things. We're gonna have to decide
It's
what
like
can
a
we
gold digger with
afford
a credit card,
without. Right.
Might as well cut
Americans,
military.
we're a gold digger with a credit card.
Right.
Swiping and swiping.
That has no limit.
As students, we're all advocates for education, but most of the money for public schools things come from state and local. It usually your state that puts money to your school, and that's why some states teach different than others. Why there's a gap in some states in what they learn and how their schools are. It's usually your area. So instead, we use federal money and take charge and bring everybody up to par and increase education. And then most of America's terrorism happens within our country. If we start putting money to attacking terrorists who aren't even here yet and that we can barely detect, instead of to the money of who people like ISIS are connecting to with our children through social media, through the internet. Start focusing more on them, maybe we'll get less kids shooting up schools, less bombings within our own country, less massacres, less things, less of us hurting our own selves.
Right.
Focus on the wrong within our own country before we try to protect what on the outside.
And I know that student loans in America is worth trillions of dollars in debt, not billions, it's trillions of dollars. So imagine what $54 billion could do for students like us who have to take out loans each year just to get a higher education. I mean, it's just crazy.
So does anyone, we're talking about this $54 billion that he's taking. What is he going to do with the money? If you're gonna take it, I need to see what you're doing with it. Obviously I'm not the president, so I can't say
Yeah.
don't take it, but
And I guess as this year goes along, we'll get to see a written plan of what he wants to do with the money. It's going to be interesting to see the specific cuts that he wants to take in certain programs.
Nuclear for sure.
yeah. And one thing I was noticing when researching, he's trying to increase Navy shipbuilding, aircraft. he's trying to modernize nuclear weapons and more investment in cybersecurity. Now, I do agree with investing in cybersecurity.
That's a must. Yeah.
That is a must. So I agree, like I said, I agree with upping the military budget for certain reasons. I just don't know if $54 billion and cutting it away from programs in America that need more federal money versus taking the money away, you know, programs that actually benefit everyday Americans. So I don't know if it's the whole taking budget cut thing that I'm upset with, or if it's the amount that he's taking.
I think it's more the amount. And
Yeah.
we do need more cyber. Do need more money going to our cyber programs. I think it was this week. Actually today, the FBI has indicted 2 Russian spies for hacking Yahoo. That's one of the biggest emailing companies in our country, and 2 Russian spies actually hacked Yahoo and were able to get the user's information. So I think cybersecurity is.
And let's not forget the whole email scandal.
Exactly.
The whole, what was it? Hacking of the voting.
DNC.
Yeah, with the
Emails.
voting, you know?
I mean, and then Russia is one of those countries who don't put as much into the military as we do. We put at least 5 times into our military to what they do, but here they are hacking our Yahoo and things like that.
Right.
And they don't put money into their military. So I think America should really take a good look at what they're doing with their money and how it actually affects the country, and also look at fellow countries to see how they use their money and how it affects their economy and their people, and really make a decision and maybe a change in where all our money goes.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Politics with Us, and we'll see you next week.
That way.
Bye, guys.
See you later.